Tell me about exactly what happened to you originally.
Thank you for having me, Andrew. So I was going to America, lecturing and talking about what was happening in Palestine and in the Middle East quite generally, a number of issues, Syria, Saudi Arabia, and the like. And 2 weeks prior to my arrest, there was a group of far-right individuals, Dinesh D'Souza, Ted Cruz as well joined in, and then a lady called Laura Loomer, who openly came out and said, there is somebody from the UK who is lecturing in the US talking against the Israelis. We need to get his visa revoked. So on the Monday, I sent this to my lawyers. I said to them, guys, there's a social media campaign to get my visa revoked. They didn't pay too much attention to it. On the Wednesday, Laura Loomer tweeted that she'd gone to Congress and met with in the State Department, and that, quote, I have good news coming for you in 2 days about a certain, whatever, she mentioned some accusations there. And then I gave a talk in San Francisco on Friday, Sacramento Saturday. I was supposed to fly on the Sunday to Florida and then New York and then home. When I got to San Francisco airport, went through security, looked up to see where the gate is, D38, to fly to Tampa. Somebody walks up to me and says to me, excuse me, are you Sami Hamdi? I said, yes. He said, Homeland Security, your visa was revoked 2 days ago, so now you're here illegally. I said, no one told me my visa was under review. I have a 10-year business visa. It's until 2028. It doesn't expire. They said, well, here is the memo from the State Department. It didn't list any accusation. It didn't say why the visa was revoked. I told them, okay, I'll just book the ticket and go home to London. They said, that's not how this works. Then they told me to get into a black car, like the stuff you see in the movies. I told them I need to inform somebody. They said no. Then I told them I'm not getting in the car unless I inform somebody. I called the Civil Liberties Organization. Then when I said, let me call my family, a lady behind me grabs me, pushes me against the car, cuffs my hands from behind, throws me in the car. And for the next 6 hours, I'm just being taken to a random location without any access to a lawyer behind the van. You know, they swapped me in a vehicle. And then afterwards, you know, a process of 2 weeks would take place. 2 federal judges would come out and say, we are seriously concerned about infringement of freedom of speech. Then they tried to argue, the other side, that the federal court had no jurisdiction to discuss an alien's right to freedom of speech, as they put it. The federal judge responded within the hour, saying we do have jurisdiction and we are concerned about freedom of speech. The following day, my lawyers were contacted, something very rare in immigration. They were contacted and the government essentially said, is there any way we can just clear this up, that we can just make this easy? We're willing to pull some strings and let him go home. And I agreed to the deal and went back.